Lady Aurelia Malys. Welcome, gentle listener. I am Baldermort, your faithful servant, and I wish to introduce you to the factions, forces, and faces of the grim darkness of the far future, where there is no time for peace, there is only time for war. If you wish to see the channel flourish, then like and subscribe, but do try to lend a hand with a comment. Not only do I find them interesting, but also often enlightening to read, but it would also help me considerably. And today, we shall be investigating one of the most alluring and dangerous beings in the universe. So sultry, she can seduce monarchs. So able, she can threaten their power. She is beauty and horror, as much as the queen of the arena sands, Liliath Hesperax. But where Liliath concentrates all of her skill and prowess on the subtle knife, the killing blow, this femme fatale is far wider in her scope and ambition. She was once the consort of the darkest soul in all of Warhammer. She is Lady Malys. But, as usual, let us kick off proceedings with a wee yarn to show how this dominatrix pushes her stilettos into the face of all. From the Bald Library, the enemy of my enemy is my pawn. A rare situation. The Drukhari ships hung under the shadow of a moon, out in real space, but not doing what they did naturally. They were not about to descend on an undefended world. They were not about to fall on the planet, with boards and skimmers to ride amongst the lesser races, slaying and slaving as they saw fit. No. A vast fleet of defensive ships were circling the planet, not on alert, but phenomenal in number and size. Whatever attacked that would not live long. On the bridge of a ship looking out into the darkness, the Drakon turned to his lord. "My Lady Archon, not that I am complaining about slaughtering greenskin slime, but why are we doing this?"
My dear Drabula, this is why I am the Archon, and you the Drakon. Watch and learn. No more questions.
"Yes, my lady."
Instruct the 3rd and 4th flotillas to strike as soon as we have their attention. Flotillas 5 through 8 will strike precisely 4 minutes afterwards.
"We'll not last long against their numbers, my lady."
Indeed, Drabula. Our captains know their remit. You do not. And if you speak again, I will gift you to the prophets of flesh. Wouldn't that be nice?
Drabula did not react. He merely nodded and looked back at his screen.
Now.
The flotillas broke from beneath the moon and darted through the darkness of the void, their aquiline hulls eating light instead of reflecting it, absorbing auspex instead of setting it off. And they got amongst the orc ships before they detected them. Like darts amidst the gloom, the Drukhari ships opened fire with their dark light weapons and bored great trenches and holes in the nearest orc vessels. Shots fired out from the greenskin ships faster than any could have predicted. Well, except their overlord, their dark mistress, Lady Aurelia Malys. Volleys fired out like waves from the greenskin ships, but practically none of the Dark Eldar ships was even scraped by them. As the orcs all turned to face their attackers, the other flotillas of Drukhari vessels rode in out of nowhere, causing pandemonium as the orcs tried to change tack. The confusion was so deep that many of the orc ships collided with one another. Yet, so few of the orc bulk ships were more than mildly damaged. Superficial burns, not killing blasts, were the almost universal result of the Drukhari firepower. Within 15 minutes from its start, the Archon gave the order, and they disengaged as one. The Drukhari fleet turning away from the engaged orcs and mustering as one, before blatantly all flying away in the same direction. Lady Malys looked down at Drabula and nodded to his expectant face. Now that the battle was over, she would hear his bleating again. But he knew his role. He was the butt of all of her japes. Using him was the method of answering the questions of the deck crew, which would then be circulated around the entire ships and fleet within minutes. It was their way, the Drukhari. Knowledge was power. What did we achieve, my lady?
Well, Drabula, why don't you guess?
We have annoyed the Greenskin fleet. They will attempt to follow us to take vengeance. But we have not truly hurt them at all, just burnt their beards.
Yes, Drabula, exactly that. And what system is on our path away from the orcs?
Oh, it is a Monkey Imperial world.
And what will the orcs do when they arrive?
They will forget it was not Monkey who attacked them. They will just see enemies to fight.
Precisely so, Drabula. Perhaps you are learning after all.
But why, my Archon?
Because that Imperial world has something I desire. Did you really think I would waste true-born Eldar on such an assault? The Monkey are not the orcs.
So, we hit them after the orcs have destroyed the Imperial defences.
No, Drabula, no. We hit the Monkey during. And watch the skies burn as we take what I have come to claim.
But who is Lady Aurelia Malys? Although some call her Lady Malys. Down to preference, I guess. So let us go with Malys, as it is deeply appropriate. Lady Malys is the Lord and Master of the Cabal of the Poisoned Tongue, one of the most cunning and deadly in all of Commorragh. She has dodged the executioner's axe more times than any other, danced herself and her attendant Cabalites away from the fires of vexed culls so often it is supposed this is all the work of her enslaved oracles. Yet those who know her are more than aware that she is prescient, not merely because of parlour tricks and psychic gifts, but because of her unerring intellect and nose for a change in the weather. For she knows the master of the Dark City like no other. She can practically feel his changes in mood and tempo, sees his invisible hand manipulating events before any can even notice his effects. How so? Well, gentle listener, it is because she was once the paramour of the man, Asdrubal Vecht, the undisputed king of the Dark Eldar. Her bearing is regal. She is haughty, as are all of her kind, but she reflects a veneer of civility and decorum few fellow Archons even pretend to maintain. She is a killer beyond the ken of Monkey, not just with poison, Machiavellian scheming and assassination, but also with raw power. Her reflexes are the equal of a witch of the cults, her skill and precision equal to that of an incubi, her armaments second only to the king's. Yet it is not her martial power that terrifies her enemies, nor truly her intellect. It is her uncanny ability to survive and thrive under pressure, to form alliances not just of convenience, but of lasting loyalty. And in the Dark City, loyalty is the rarest gem of all. Never has it been recorded that any of her Archons have turned on her, nor the many desperate forces that she has collected into her potent cabal. She walks with incubi, covens, cults, and cabals, all aligned under her banner. But, strangest of all, she seems to have the loyalty of a formidable collection of masks of the Dancers of Death, the worshippers of Segura, the Harlequins. Now Vecht may claim the same, but he is the Emperor of the Webway, the Lord of Commorragh. Should he take against the Harlequins, their welcome there might be over. And the Harlequins are the ambassadors between the differing castes and kindreds of the Eldari. To forego the entirety of the Dark Eldar would not be possible for them, as they gain as many recruits to their travelling troops from the Dark Eldar as ever they do from the Craftworlders or Exodite Eldar. Yet, of all the Archons, it is Malys who can wield them with as much skill and in equal number to the Dark Lord himself. Once Lady Malys was a young woman, and even then she had the character and unique traits to attract the eye of the king, Asdrubal Vecht. She was quickly raised to not only share his bed, but his boardroom, and she became one of his consilium, his inner council. Yet eventually she fell from grace. Some say it is because she eventually bored the king. Others that he saw too much challenge in her eye, that even Vecht himself was secretly a little scared, not of her, but what she could become. There are others that postulate that she was to be his wife, the queen, to give birth to a new race of Eldar gods with him. But perhaps that is too extravagant a position, even for this setting. Even so, she was not just slain, as so many of his concubines would have been. Knowing too much about the king can be a dangerous thing, eh? No. For Malys, she was merely discarded. Many again would state that this was because Vecht did not think much of her. Others that he secretly wanted the challenge, because he had slain so many of his enemies that his court was getting altogether too supine, too easy, and an easy life leads to laziness, which, in Commorragh, leads to death. In any case, Lady Malys did not wait around for a knife or poisoned meal or beverage. She took off into the webway to secure herself from his gaze. Out of sight, out of mind, or so it is thought. While out there in the deep regions of the webway, she set up new bases, new facilities, new strong places that she could call her own, and she was challenged to the most sumptuous and luxurious of challenges by a being with the power of a god. Now some say it was Segura himself who challenged, others state that it was a greater demon who took the form of Segura, the laughing god of the Harlequins, although the former is more likely, as a Harlequin mask of the Veiled Path was heavily involved. So one would presume it was their lord's bidding they performed. But even the Harlequins can be fooled, for even they are merely mortal. No matter the truth of the acting power, the challenge was simple. A contest of wits and wills was performed, one that, beyond all hope, Aurelia Malys won. Her victory granted the Archon her life, but also a blade and a crystalline heart, perfect in form, beating before her very eyes. Malys did what came naturally. She cut out her own heart with the proffered sword, known as the Lady's Blade, and replaced her own heart with the crystalline one. Now, she is faster and stronger than ever before, not only of the body, but also of the mind. Yet, some say that she is shattered inside, will look at her own vision in the mirror and laugh, a multi-voiced laugh. From there, Malys has grown in power ever since. Bit by bit, troop by troop, group by group. She has built a force and foundation so strong that she now concedes to challenge Vecht himself. It was she who stole the STC that was discovered and could well have been used to revolutionize medical practices in the Imperium, saving trillions of lives. It was Malys who took the Scarlet Harbour and Netherdale districts of Commorragh itself. It was she who detected the weakening of Cain's Gate and waged a war against Vect's guard around it, thinking they were placed there to weaken the walls between the webway and the warp. The battles around the underrealms of Commorragh are near exclusively the forces of Malys against those of Vect. A pity they seem so set on conflict, as they probably have the same goal, for Vect did not intend for the gate to open, or so he states. But Asdrubal Vect is an inveterate liar at the best of times. Yet now things are worse, for it was Malys who was the sponsor of Yvraine, the Daughter of Shades, she who is better known as the emissary of the God of the Dead, Inyad. Perhaps there may be some ties between the two still. Perhaps Malys will then weaponize the discontent from many quarters of the Dark City at the scourging of the Inari by the forces loyal to Vect. Perhaps, in place of a king, Commorragh will have a queen, not just dark, but as beautiful and terrible as the dawn, treacherous as the seas, stronger than the foundations of the earth. You know the drill. And perhaps, if we are exceptionally blessed, we may even see the return of Baron Sathanix, Duke Sliskus, and even, perhaps, Crandurach, the headsman. Now that would be a dark day for the galaxy. A dark day indeed. But I really do think the Dark Eldar have been starved of leaders and varying battle styles for quite some time. It has been so long since 5th edition, when the cull occurred, and so many of their leaders just disappeared. Perhaps, just perhaps, we shall see them return in all their grisly glory. I have been Baldermort, your faithful servant. Like, subscribe, patron, you know the drill. But most importantly of all, no matter what you do today, do try to make some time for fun. Toodaloo.